Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we will be talking about The Wild Robot. Now, The Wild Robot came out September 27th, 2024. Now, the way the wild the the way the wild robot starts off, Roz 7134, the helpful robot, washes up on an island, and she is woken up by baby otters. Now she tries to help everyone on the island, and she also gives them a sticker, but none of them want her help. And actually, the group of animals kind of band together, and a little baby squirrel says, "Are you here to kill us?" And then Ross says, "No, I am here to assist you with whatever you need." Which is true, she is there to assist. But the baby squirrel says, "She said yes." So they kick her to the curb, and while she's trying to get up off the floor, some raccoons take her transmitter because she was gonna return back to but but back to the robot factory. But then some raccoons took her transmitter, and then after taking the transmitter, they put it in a cave. But in Rotha's defense, she did not see the bear in the cave. But anyway, oh, 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 I forgot to tell you. Roz actually won the fight with her and the raccoons, because Roz climbed up a tree and actually flinged the raccoons to the other side of the island by using the tree. Oh, and she also followed a deer, but the deer did not order her, so the deer didn't ask for her assistance. So, with nobody needing her help, she was gonna go back home. But then the raccoons came and took the transmitter, so she can't go back home without the transmitter. So, so one raccoon leaves the transmitter in a cave where the bear was, but I have to take Radha's side on this. She did not know that it was a bear in that cave, and And keep this in mind because this will be important later as the story goes on. So, knowing there was a bear in that cave, Raj runs away, taking the transmitter with her until it gets crushed by the bear that is chasing her. And with it raining now, because it wasn't raining before, but it's late at night and it's a thunderstorm going on. So, with it raining now, she is running so fast. And, good news, she escaped the bear, but in her runaway to escape the bear, she killed 2 birds and 3 babies. But there's one egg left. So Roz picks up the one egg and she actually keeps it safe until it hatches. But it hatches and she doesn't know what to do. So she goes at a mother possum. And the mother possum says, "You have to take care of it. It's your job now." But Roz says, "I'm a helper robot. I assist. I find tasks to complete. And taking care of this gosling is not my task." And the possum says, "Well, taking care of the gosling is your task now." So, with her taking that order from the possum, and they are going to become best friends, trust me, but I am getting ahead of myself. With her talking to the possum and accepting that responsibility, she asks the possum, "How do you take care of a gosling?" So the possum tells her they have to eat, sleep, swim, and fly. And if they do not fly, by the time that winter gets here, they will and if the gosling does not fly, by the time that winter gets here, they will die. So Roz tries her best to feed the gosling, to teach the gosling how to fly and to swim. But it doesn't work out so well. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, there was actually a fox that was trying to get the egg, but Roz stopped him, and the fox is watching her now that the egg has hatched. And the fox's name is Fink. Now, he helps Roz feed the gosling while he's looking for food, because he doesn't help at first, but he uses Roz to he tells Roz that birds can eat anything, but while they are walking in the woods, him and Roz and the baby gosling, he is actually finding food for himself and not the baby bird gosling. So, with Think the Fox, so with Think the Fox fed, he actually says, "Oh, the baby." So he digs up some worms, and then the baby eats them. And there's one thing I forgot to tell you guys. When that baby bird hatched and he saw Roz, that means that the baby bird, because baby birds imprint on the first thing they see. So the baby bird now thinks that the robot, Roz, is his mother. So the bird is learning how to talk. So the bird is learning how to talk, making robotic sounds just like his mom. And her and Think actually build a house where they raise the gosling together, and they name him Bright Bill. And and um and they name him Bright Bill. So with Bright Bill growing up so fast, he is still learning how to swim and to fly, but right now he's just working on swimming. So Think the fox is teaching him how to swim, but he doesn't know how to swim yet, so he drowned. But Roz saves him. And Roz is becoming is actually becoming such a loving mother, because she says, "Stay where we can see you and our eyesight." And and think is Think is acting like a father, because he says to Roz, we gotta let him grow. And it's just so funny, and I love their co-parenting, and like they are just, this movie is just so good. And this is not even my first time watching it. This is my second time watching it, and I just love it. Like, The Wild Robot is just so good. So, 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 while Bright Bill is drowning, Roz actually goes into the water to save him. After Think sees that he's drowning as well, and then Roz and him actually work together to save Bright Bill. And then the next day, he sees a couple of goslings, and the goslings all know him as the one with the monster for a mother. So the monster is obviously Roz, because they never seen a robot on the island before. So they call Roz a monster, and they are just and they and 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 and, 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 and they are so mean to Bright Bill because he can't swim, even though he thinks he is swimming, because that's the way he was taught by his parents. So he thinks he is swimming because that's the way he was taught by Roz and Think how to swim. And the birds are just so mean. they're just picking on him and they are throwing him in the water. But Roz comes to his rescue, and Roz says he is just learning how to swim. And I think he is just trying to get to know you. Because you guys are just like him and you share. And, 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 and you look just like him. But, but, these mean little goslings, children, these mean little goslings tell Brightbill that thing is not your mother because Brightbill says, oh, leave them alone. It's all right, Mom. Let's just go. And someone actually tells Brightbill that thing is not your mother. She is the one that she the one that actually killed your mother. And may I clarify that he was okay. So they say that thing is not your mother, and the monster thing, and they are talking about Roz the robot. The monster thing actually killed your mother and father, and since Roz is feeling uncomfortable, she tries to talk to Brightbill later on that night. Her and Think tell him the truth about what happened, and then Think says, "Oh, tell you." Oh, tell that to my brothers and sisters, to my real father and mother, 'cause you will never be my mother. And then he just walks off. And he kicks the little nest that Roz made for him when he was a baby. That Roz actually fixed from when he was a baby. Remember when I told you that she stepped on the nest? Well, she actually fixed it. Oh, and did I tell you that when Brightbill was a baby, he actually told this wonderful, beautiful story to Brightbill when he was a baby. And it was actually pretty well told. It was so adorably cute. So anyway, Roz is out walking by the island, and I think she was getting food from Brightbill when she comes across this magazine with the robot that looks like her, and she actually reads all the information in that magazine, and then she finds an old robot called 113 that actually tells Roz that she has been overworking her system. And then Roz tells the robot, "Yes, I have been overworking my system because I don't know what to do, because he is counting on me. Brightbill is counting on me. He is my test. What do I do?" And then Robot 113 tells her that she is defective, that she that that she is a robot and that she shouldn't be feeling anything because Roz is feeling love and affection for Brightbill and Think, her friends that love her. But Robot 113 tells her that that actually tells her that she needs to go back to the robotic center so that they can fix her. And that is where she belongs, and that she doesn't belong there. Taking care of and that she doesn't belong there taking care of Brightbill and Think, that she belongs back in the command center with all the other robots. And then the robot shuts down. But Rod is feeling so confused. And honestly, I just love the way that Roz is learning like all these new phrases and actually creating a new um 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 database and the and 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 and, and actually Think finds her sitting on the cliff by herself, and she actually tells Think that she needs to go back so they can fix her. And Think says, well, do you have to go back? You don't have to if you don't want to. And then Rod and 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 and, and then Roz tells her and and then Roz tells Think that she has to go back. That she has to go back. And then while they're having that conversation, they see birds flying, and then Think says, he's out of time. We have got to get him into the air fast. So Ross tries to work with him to get him into the air, and actually, this and and actually this nice beaver actually builds her some boots so it can look like she is flying with so 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 that it can look like that she's flying with Brightbill. And it actually goes well and actually Ross does fall down a bit and 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 thanks um think actually find some oil when Ross falls he actually finds oil, and that's when he knows that Roz is giving it all she's got to make sure that her son makes it up into the air because she is leaking oil. But she still won't get up, because even when she falls, she says, "I am fine. Now let's get back to work." And the other animals start helping too, because um because Dink tells Ross that you cannot be up you cannot be up in the air with him. So Ross says, "Well, okay, then we will find someone who can." So they actually hire a flying teacher called, hang on, let me look at my notes. So they actually hire a flying teacher called Thunderbolt that teaches him how to fly, and and she meets and she meets and and and, and she meets this duck who is the leader of his flying troop called Long Neck. And Roz asks him if he if Brightbill can join him when he leaves. And then Longneck and then Longneck says sure, but he's gonna have to get stronger. So they work with him to teach him how to pull up a rock and to fly at the same time. And even the possum from the beginning says, "Come on, get back into the air. Do not give up yet." So he gets back into the air and he flies. And actually there is a wonderful song that comes on, and it is called "Kiss the Sky," that actually plays through this scene, and I just love the song so much. I play it on repeat all the time ever since the movie came out. Anyway, now that now and 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 and, and now that Bright Bill is stronger, the time has finally come. Longneck has come to get him, to get Bright Bill to fly with the rest of his flock. Longneck's flock. So, before they leave, before they leave, Longneck tells Bright Bill, he says, "You don't know how lucky you are, son." And and um to have a mother like Roz. And then Bright Bill says that he knows how lucky he is. And then Longneck says, no, I don't think you do. Because even though Roz was Eve, because even though Roz killed your family, you were a rat and she raised you. And I have never seen something with more heart than Roz has. And I just really think that was a wonderful and powerful, 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 powerful speech that he gave. And I just love that speech so much. And so, before Bright Bill takes off, he tries to say something to Roz. And he tries to tell Roz how he feels. And they even try to say, I love you. And there was even this part in the movie where she told Longneck, thank you for taking care of my, and I think she was gonna say son, but then she said Bright Bill. And so Bright Bill tells Roz that he could use a lift. So, for one last time, Roz actually takes Bright Bill on her shoulders and he actually flies away. For that one last time. And now that and 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 now that Bright Bill is away, Fink can go back to his home and to protect himself and not try to get eaten. And Roz can go back to the factory so she can get fixed. But although when Roz sends out the signal so she can be found, she actually disconnects the signal and she actually finds Fink in their old house. And actually there is actually a snowstorm going on. Now Fink says maybe we should all just forget about him and maybe we should go back inside and we can have this place to ourselves. We can have this whole place to ourselves. And then Roz asks him, why does he want to see everybody go and not try to help anybody in the storm? Because that's why he came back. Because he told us the reason he came back is because there is a really, really bad snowstorm out there. So he came back to their little hut to the house that they built to keep himself safe from the winter storm But no. So, Think tells Roz, the only reason I do that and the only reason I don't want to help them is because they don't like me and they are always mean to me. And then Roz says, and me. But sometimes we have got to just push aside our feelings and do the right thing. So she actually helps everyone and she gets everyone into the and she gets everyone into the house that they built, but it's still chaos. So Roz, even on her last battery charge, goes out to save the bear that almost attacked her. That actually tried that that actually tried to attack. That 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 actually tried to attack her in the beginning. So, on her last battery, she says think, and think says what out of anger. And then, and then, and, 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 and then Roz says help them. So, think says, look at her. The monster, the robot monster who was trying to raise her kid. And you all took her for granted and you all were mean to her. But here she is helping you. So tonight, we're just gonna have to get along. And Roz actually told them this. And Roz actually says, tonight, we are just gonna have to be more than what we are and put our feelings aside and work together as a unit and as a community and actually get along. And when the storm is over, we can go back to actual to, to actually hating each other. But for right now, I just want us all to get along. And so all the animals promise to get along with each other and actually Roz powers down. Meanwhile, we see Bright Bill flying with Longneck to the place that they were gonna go for the winter. And they finally make it there. And he tells Longneck when they're up in the sky that he actually forgot to say something to Roz when he left with them. But Longneck tells him, whatever you forgot to say, I'm pretty sure that she knew. Because she said the same thing to Think. She said, Think, how do you know when you love something? And how do you know when it's too late to tell them? And then Think says that he wouldn't know because he's never felt that way about anyone before. And then he goes home. But that was later on in the story. I'm talking about now. So they make it to so they make it to this cornfield, and they're gonna hide out there until, I guess, the bad weather's over. So they're gonna hide out there until the weather it and until the weather gets better there, you're gonna hide in some corn. So he tries to talk. So Bright Bill tries to talk to all of the other birds, but then he sees robot feet. So he thinks that it's Roz, and he goes to tell Roz how much he loves her. But that is not Roz. That is another robot prototype that looks like her, and they get attacked by the robots. And actually, Longneck stays behind to hold them off. And Bright Bill actually leads them to safety because Bright Bill knows all about the robots because he grew up with one. So he leads them to the place they were flying to for the winter. In the meantime, Roz is being taken by a ship to the factory by this other evil robot, and Roz heard Think say that Bright Bill is back and he has something to say to you. So Think tells Roz that, Roz, where are you? Bright Bill is back. Get down here. He has something he has to tell you. So she actually goes down there, and the robotic thing actually tells all of the robots to follow her until they can bring her back to the factory to be reprogrammed. Because they say that she is a malfunction. Because she knows about love and compassion, and robots are not supposed to know those things. So they are gonna try to get her reprogrammed if they take her back to the factory. So she gets actually to see Bright Bill and to hug Bright Bill, but the robots had followed her down there, and Think knows about the robots as well. That's why he's running. And actually Think and actually Think told her how to lie. So she lied to that other evil robot and said that she will be back, even though she's not coming back to get on the ship. So she is running in the forest from the ship robot, and they actually fight off all the robots pretty well. But then they get Roz anyway because they are so distracted by fighting off like these gigantic robots that everybody pushes the tree to get there, and they actually push a home off of a beaver that Think doesn't like, and and um and, Think has to say that the beaver is the greatest and that he is not annoying. And then Think can't even say it, and then everybody's like, Think, And that's what I was saying to the screen when I was reviewing the movie for this channel. I was like, think, this is a matter of life and death. You better say that the beaver is the best, so you guys can borrow his home, um, so that you guys can borrow his home, so you can so, so that you guys can drop it on the robot, and this little robot, and then just in this little robot, and just in it and just in this little robot war. So do you remember that little baby squirrel that was so mean to Ross, and he and and, that little robot actually said to the robot that was there to destroy them. The kid actually said, "Are you here to kill us?" And then and and then and then and then the robot said affirmative. And then the squirrel was like, he said yes. And so they took down the robot, and everything is great, but then everything's on fire now. Oh, and they took rods and all the commotion. And then Bright Bill and everybody came rushing in there, chasing, 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 chasing the spaceship that will lead back to where the robots are. So he gets on the spaceship. He finds Roz. And he actually tells Roz, what happened to my parents is not your fault. And I appreciate you trying to fix it. And no matter what, you will always be my mother. And I love you. And then Roz hears that. And let me just say, it wasn't it was not exactly worded like that, but it was just so beautiful. He was like, I love you, Mom. And so Roz actually woke up and said, I love you too. Now let's go home. So they get off the ship. And you might think it's the end, because outside of that ship there is like a sky of purplish and bluish because of the explosions, and and um and um and 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 Roz actually unwires herself, and you can see all the memories of Bright Bill when he was a baby to when he grew up as a teenager. And Bright Bill says, Roz, what are you doing? Don't you need that? And she tells Bright Bill, everything I need is right here. And do not be afraid. So she takes to the sky and get back to the island, flying with the Bright Bill in her compartment and all the wires gone. And then she asks her friends, on the scale of 1 to 10, because this is how she first talked when she arrived. So she says, on the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate my performance? and then everybody cheers. But then we see that the forest and the island are destroyed. And then Roz remembers what the robot said to her, that we will be back and we will come back for you. And so she tells Bright Bill and all her friends that she has to go back. And then that she has to go back and finish the work that she started for the factory. And then everybody says, no, she can't go back to the factory. And even I was like, no, you can't go back to the factory. But then she tells Bright Bill, do you remember what you told me on the ship? That came from a different part of me, and they will never take that part away. And so whenever I miss you, I will just think of that deep part of me in my heart that you said that you love me and I said that I loved you, my son, and they will never take that part away from me. So with that in mind, she actually does go back, and then Bright Bill follows the spaceship that she is on until he can no longer see it. And even think it's like, but if you're gone, what if he gets sick, or what if I had to tell you something? And then you guys know the bear that was so mean to them? The bear said, you can tell me and us. And 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 Roz says before she gets on the ship that that is her migration, and that will always be her home, and that she will come back, and that is the promise. So then with Roz on the ship, Bright Bill follows the ship, and then we have the fox, looking back at the ship because he knows that he loves and that he's gonna miss Roz. And the bear, and actually the bear is looking out at is it is actually looking out at the ship with him, and it's a really sweet moment. And then a few seconds later, we get this other scene with everyone with everyone in Roz's house, and Think is actually reading them a story about Roz, and they and and they are actually watching the video that actually Roz watched from um that other robot, 113, about Roz the robot. And then Think is telling the children the story, and he is telling everyone, if I know Roz, she is making a plan to come back to us right now, because everybody's like, we miss her. And then Think says, it is it wait if I know Roz, she is making a plan to come back to us right now. And then we cut over to Roz outside picking oranges. Mm, 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 Actually picking oranges. And she actually and she actually see um uh she actually see goslings flying by that remind her of Brightville. And then we see Brightville on the ground looking at her, and 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 what and 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 and, 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 and she tells and 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 she tells this person that, hello, my name is Roz 13, but 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 actually, when she sees Brightville, this is when she says, but you can just call me Roz. So she picks Brightville up, and then they touch heads like they did when he was a baby. They actually touch heads like they did when he was a baby, and like they did when she was in a spaceship getting ready to get reprogrammed and taken back to the factory. When she sees Brightville, she says, but you can just call me Roz. So I guess, since she said that, I guess what she said is true. She never forgot her son Brightville, and they never took away the deepest parts of her memory with Brightville and Think. Because Brightville and Think will always be her family. And that is the end of the movie. Bye, and see you guys in my next video. I forgot to tell you. There is this in credit scene where the fox is burying something. So I forgot to tell you guys. There is this end credit scene where Fink the fox is burying something with the bear, and he sees the squirrel, and then he actually throws um a nut at the squirrel, like a like a nut that the squirrels eat. And then Think just says, "Oh, squirrels." And that's the end of the movie. Bye, and see you guys in my next video, which will be Happy Feet 2. Bye. See you guys next time for Happy Feet 2. Happy Feet 2. Bye.